Sydney's, and I'll live stream with everyone. If I get paid like data money, I'll live stream the whole Comic Con in Cape Town. Which will be
Is there anything like in particular there you're going there for? Just to see? Like is
uh
like someone going there like for a panel?
well, I'm mostly going because I want to get out of Joburg and just like do a bit of uh stretching my explorer legs
Hmm.
and just getting out of the city, seeing more of our country, having a look at Cape Town where I am allowed to sleep. Because the last like 3 times I've gone to Cape Town, it was for work reasons, and I was not, and I didn't sleep for like 48 hours, and yeah, it wasn't fun. So now I want to go there and actually have fun for once. Quite frankly, it will be a miracle.
Well, I hope you have a good time over there.
Oh yeah,
I
and
have I've
fun.
I've
Yeah,
never been to Comic Con, but I've been to something called PAX. There's one over here in Texas called PAX South that I've
isn't
been
that the
to a
same
couple
thing?
times.
Isn't that basically the same thing?
Uh, well, I don't know. Well, I know that Comic Con is like they show like a bunch of reveals and about stuff.
Well, they do in
I
the
it's like
American. It's San
it,
Diego. San
it's like
Diego
the
gets that.
same in the same vein, but it's just mainly on video games. Like there's been a couple of times where like influencers have come and had like panels and stuff,
I mean,
and like they show
we've
off
got.
games and shit.
To be fair, we have this year. So like 2 years ago, Comic Con, we had the actor who played 3PO who came, and then uh, John Barrowman. So that was cool. And this year at Comic Con, and then like we had some fairly big YouTubers in the Anime Man and Akidirist who are also
Oh
going
yeah,
to
you told me about that
this
one
year's.
before.
Yeah, they're going to Comic Con Cape Town. Also, this year's like Comic Con Joburg, they changed the fucking time, like the when in the year it's happening, and everyone's like, "What the fuck, dude?" Now I have to now they all have to change their fucking everyone who like booked in advance because Comic Con's regularly on like the same days every year, and then this year they're like, we'll just change it
Yeah.
now," and everyone's like, "We already booked fucking tickets, you bastards!"
That sounds
And it
that
was
sucks.
a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be an April Fool's." No, it actually changed.
Dude, I always hate like waking up and seeing people like this game got announced or like this thing is happening. I'm like, "Oh, that sounds so cool." And then I look at the date and it's like, "Oh,
Yeah, I
I
forgot
wish
about.
the April Fool's thing just like left, just stopped being a
To be
thing."
fair, I completely forgot that April Fool's was a thing, and I spent the day like basically just doing normal things.
Yeah.
I think I uploaded a video. I like finished editing a YouTube my last YouTube video, which is out, which went live like yesterday. So that was fun. Spent the whole day
Uh
just
was it
editing.
was it Kamen Rider again or something
Yeah,
else?
it was one of my Kamen Rider reaction videos. Those are like my videos to keep my channel getting content. You know,
Yeah.
that's not just gaming because everyone does fucking let's plays. Like it's the most common thing on YouTube is everyone just doing a let's play or something because there's a bunch of people who saw like PewDiePie and like Jacksepticeye get really big off gaming. So like, oh, we can do that too, and then everyone's doing it, so no one gets big because there's like 3 million people all trying it and it's not working for any of them. So I was like, Kamen Rider seems a bit more niche,
Yeah.
which is
Plus,
weird
and
because
you really like Kamen Rider too, so
well,
it adds to it.
it's weird. I have mixed feelings on Kamen Rider. So it depends on which rider, because some of them are kind of drab and dull. I've tried watching some of the older ones, like the first in what's known as like the Heisei era, which if you watch Godzilla films, you'll know as like
Hmm.
the middle era of when
Yeah, after
the
Showa.
Godzilla film. Yeah, so it's like the one where it's kind of got a bit more dark and so on. So that started with Kamen Rider Kuga, and I tried watching Kuga, and I can't. I just can't do it. It bores me to tears, and I don't understand why. Because the bones of something awesome are there. But the more I try and watch it, the more bored I get, and the more I'm like, why am I getting bored? I by all metrics, I should like this. It's cool. It's got a cool idea of like an ancient power that gets like transferred if you touch the belt. It's got like cool forms and a fairly likable like main character. I'm like, all the bones of something I really like are here. But I don't want to watch it. I want to go watch something else every single time I try and watch it. I'm like, I could watch that. Or I could go watch Fire Force. Or my other weird, pointless, my pointless anime watch, which was The Red Ranger becomes an adventurer in another world.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one's
Such a good
fun,
one.
but it's also like got straight up characters who are just like. Have you finished the season yet?
I haven't finished the season. I think I'm like on
Half.
episode 7 or 8 after they
Did you get
once
to
they get
the
to like
giant
the
cactus forest?
yeah, I just got there to that one where they
You've
meet
kind of
the
met the
the
elves.
other ranger
No, it's not a ranger.
or the other lady that has like the same powers.
No, it's not the same powers. She's the common
Well,
rider stand-in.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean. She can
The thing is,
transform.
yeah, she can transform, but her powers work differently to the point of the creator is such a fucking nerd for like tokusatsu, so like Power Rangers, well, Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, to the point
Hmm.
of the announcer that is on the Amun, whatever her fucking form is called, her thing, Amun. I think it's just called Amun.
Yeah.
It's literally the announcer from Kamen Rider Decade. It's like the same dude doing the voiceover for the things. I'm like, God damn it. This guy's such a fucking nerd. He hired the same dude to do it.
Dude, that's the one thing I really love. When Red like uses his powers and his belt is doing like the sound effects and the voiceovers and stuff.
Yeah,
It just sounds
it's
so
really,
fucking funny.
it's like incredibly silly and funny. Although up until you get to the end of the season, then Red gets his like, I suppose in Power Ranger terms you call it his like battleizer form,
Hmm.
but like it's different from any battleizer you know because it's closer to like the dark anime power up.
Yeah. Oh
You know,
right. Yeah, when he was fighting that ghost jester guy, that demon jester dude, he got all like uh
he got
got
like black
like
energy,
yeah,
black flames.
the black dark energy and shit.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I finished it and started
it's
reading the
definitely
manga
like
because
one of
I'm like,
the
it's good. It's like a good story, and I care about the main character. But now I know more about what's gonna happen. I'm sitting here like, oh, the next arc is gonna be really fucking stupid. Sorry, I read the beginning of it and I'm like, this arc is already dumb as fuck, and it's so funny because it is pure like Power Rangers silliness arc. You get this arc with the elves and stuff, and it gets really dark and has mature themes, and then the very next arc is dumb as fuck. And I'm
have
not going to
they
spoil it for when you get there.
have they announced that they're gonna make a season 2? I'd imagine they are, right? Because
Probably
it's
it's pretty
been doing
big,
so well.
and like there's, I mean, America has a lot of Power Rangers fans because that was just like a lot of kids grew up watching Power Rangers from like the
Yeah.
90s and like 2000s. So it's like a lot of those fans are now like going to watch this and be like, I know that. That's a joke thing that was in. That's a thing that was in Power Rangers. Except this kind of jokes about it more.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the inevitable episode where they like reference a different team, because that was another thing that's in a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
Super Sentai. Is they'll have like the episode where they meet the last team. I think Power Rangers had it too, where you'd like have the one crossover episode with the last season, and you kind of see where they are at. And I just think it would be really funny for this guy to invent a completely different team that just appears for the sake of a random crossover thing that happened in Red's history. That'd just be so funny.
Yeah.
Like they add it not so much because deep lore, but because it's a really funny recurring trope. and I dig tropes like that. That said, did not watch the Nintendo Direct thing because I take the approach of I can't afford it, so why should I care? And then I hear one of my friends,
Hmm.
Love Hammer, she was just like, the price is unnecessary. It's way too expensive to justify getting a new one when the old one still works pretty damn well. I'm like, yeah, better hardware, but like price point means people are gonna say no. All the people you're
All right,
stealing from PlayStation
all right.
and
So
Xbox say no.
let me look this up real quick so I can give you the accurate information. Do you want to hear the price or like the price first, or like hear some of the
But
announcements?
whichever one, whichever one's more interesting.
Okay, so from IGN, some of the big announcements. Um, Nintendo Switch 2 brings first-party games Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. Mario Kart World being another Mario Kart game. This time, however, from what I saw in the initial announcement, um, it's more open world, and you drive to each of the courses. So like Rainbow Road or like the Mushroom Kingdom, you actually drive there in between. And when you're playing with other people, if you don't get in like the top 30 or top like 15 or something, you get eliminated from like the match. So it's kind of like battle royale rules,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is interesting. And there's also like a free ride mode where you can just like ride around without having to worry about like racing and stuff, which is interesting and cool.
Like it sounds cool, but it also I don't know. I every time I get a racing game that's like open world and you have to drive to the next location, I'm like, that's fucking irritating. I hated it in most of the newer Need for Speed games. They irritated the shit out of me to the point I'm like, I don't care. I'm not playing this game because I have to drive. And then they don't give you like a course to drive. They're like, figure it out. I'm like, I hate this. I'm not playing your Need for Speed game to solve where my fucking track is. I'm playing it so I can go fast in a car and like brainlessly drift corners. I don't want to think that hard about my stupid racing game. And
That's fair.
if Mario Kart goes that way, I'm being like, yeah, no, fuck that. Because Mario Kart's supposed to be an even sillier, like it's supposed to be silly fun, not
Yeah.
serious, kind of realistic because you have to drive everywhere. I'm like, oh. Who asked for that feature?
Another feature, not another feature, another thing that they announced, which I was really excited for. They're doing another Hyrule Warriors game. This time, Age of Imprisonment, which, from what I saw in the trailer, takes place during the imprisonment war with Ganon.
I have no
So I
idea what
don't.
that means.
Have you played Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the
Nope.
Wild?
Nope.
Okay,
I have
so
not played a single Legend of Zelda game ever.
just like let's like a quick little recap. Something happens. Zelda goes back in time to before like the events of Hyrule being like formed.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was my alarm. Um, so Zelda gets sent back in time um, before like the events of Breath of the Wild in the past. She meets like some new characters. They're like guardians and stuff. Um, that whole time period, Ganondorf is there, and he like does evil shit and becomes like the Ganondorf that we know.
Oh,
So that
I
that
that
whole
you know
there's like a
version.
whole time skip that doesn't really go into depth about like what actually happened like in the war and stuff. They just like make reference to like, oh, there's like a big war that happened back then, and Ganondorf got imprisoned by the Master Sword, or not like the Master Sword, by the furry dude's arm, um,
By a
and
so
and
he was imprisoned by a furry arm. I gotcha.
it makes
Did the
more
arm
sense.
say uwu a lot? Did the arm woo him into imprisonment? Because that sounds about right.
It makes more sense if you play Tears of the Kingdom. But it's
I, I,
it's
I
gonna it's
guess.
gonna be it's gonna be like more like I don't know if you played any of the was it not Dragon Age Dynasty Warriors. If you've
Nope.
ever played or like heard of those ones, they're like
I know of
um
them. I haven't played them though.
it's like one guy versus like a whole army. It's just gonna be like that. They made another Hyrule Warriors game that came out on the Switch a while back. This is gonna be something more like that, but hopefully it just runs better. Um, I've seen people say like the Switch version of Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity just didn't run that well, and I played it a long time ago, and it looked like it ran okay. Um,
I
but
mean,
that was one thing I was
it's on
looking forward
Switch.
to
It
because
can't be that long ago.
I, I really like I really did enjoy Tears of the Kingdom, and
How
I'm really
old is the
interested to
Switch?
see how old is the Switch. Let me see when it
Yeah,
came
the
out.
original Switch. How many years? How old is it? Because I know.
How old is
I,
Switch? Switch released in 2017. 8 years old.
8 years old.
Crazy.
Huh.
That is crazy.
That is pretty old.
But yeah, and another thing that got announced that I was not expecting was Duskblood, a new From Software game that I honestly thought it was going to be Bloodborne 2 because the beginning of the trailer they mentioned blood and it has like a real gothic tone that fits well with Bloodborne. And you know me, I always say that Bloodborne 2 is going to get announced whenever Game Awards or like one of the PlayStation Directs or one of the other like big
Bloodborne 2 will be announced on the day that PlayStation goes under. Actually, no. Bloodborne 2 will be announced on the day that Hollywood gives a shit about the stories they make and aren't out there for money.
um
So you're never getting Bloodborne 2.
yeah.
Sorry. That's just not going to happen ever. It's a pipe dream, unfortunately. I've heard Bloodborne
But
was better than some of the Dark Souls games.
uh I mean it was better than 1 and 2, at least for me. And then
What
Dark
made
Souls
it?
3 was came after Bloodborne and kind of played kind of the same. And then Elden Ring came out on it just from like a gameplay feel and like a atmosphere feel. I think Bloodborne is still probably my favorite of the From Software games. Um which made it even more sad that when I looked into it on the website that Deathblood is going to be a PvP PvE multiplayer game.
Oh, it's a sellout game.
Yeah, it
Wonderful.
really does suck.
Don't you love how
Um,
everyone thinks that these PvP games are the only like games I should make, and I'm sitting here like, where are my story games that are fun to play? Where are my games that aren't just like fucking remakes of shit you made 50 years ago or
yeah,
however long?
like
I don't know.
Yakuza
Video games
Zero
are only like
director's cut. Did you see that? Yakuza Zero is coming out on Switch 2 and it's getting a director's cut, which adds never before seen cutscenes.
you mean it just makes all the cutscenes you sped click through because they were fucking static. It gives them animation. Like that's
Oh
genuinely
yeah,
what it says they do. They just give animation to the scenes that didn't have animation.
yeah. I remember playing Yakuza Zero and like some scenes like that, or just like static images like in the beginning when Kiryu's talking to that the guy in the taxi and it's just like still images with like a little bit of motion, which is it's just fun that funny.
It's super
um
weird.
but from what of the stuff that they showed, it is gonna have like some stuff with Majima and Kiryu. There's a scene where Majima's talking in like a phone booth. um
Hmm?
and I saw one scene of like some dude like with bandages on his face and in a green jacket that kind of looked like the acupuncturist dude. I forgot his name, but in Zero he gets killed by the car bomb.
I know who you
When
mean.
yeah,
I remember.
um,
I mean, it was a year ago. I played. I went. I also stalled on my Yakuza playthroughs because I don't. I can't get any of them after 7.
wait, what do you
None of
mean?
them. None of them are on Game Pass. So I can only play the ones that are on
Oh
Game
right,
Pass, and they're only up till like 7, which is sad because I was enjoying those. They were good games.
are you still playing Like a Dragon?
No, I finished it ages ago.
Okay, that's good because all the Yakuza games are going to be taken off Game Pass.
Why,
I don't know.
bastards?
Which is funny because I remember when the Yakuza games came to Game Pass and they were like doing the marketing and shit. They were like, Yakuza is like home, or Game Pass is home to Yakuza. It's like, oh, they're just taking them off now.
I think they're off now.
they like all the, like the marketing made it seem like Game Pass is going to be like the home for Yakuza and stuff going forward. Um,
Wait, to collect the cards.
Pokemon Legends ZA is such a weird title for a game.
Z2A
That
probably.
looked cool. Being able to like platform and stuff as with the trainer.
No, that's
Uh,
that's actually kind
Metroid
of
Prime
fun being able to do
4.
platforming in Pokemon.
Go ahead.
It's actually kind of fun to being able to platform a bit in Pokemon.
Yeah.
What the hell?
From the little
Yakuza 6
gameplay
is
thing,
200 bucks.
it showed that the trainer was using the Rotom phone
Oh,
to
yeah.
like double jump and
Maintenance
stuff and
tanking
jump
again.
off of, which is really interesting. Um, let's see. New Kirby Air Riders. Mario Kart again. I wish there was. Hold on, let me just scroll down. Ooh, Hades 2 is going to release on the Switch too. Um,
Another game I've never played. Mario
Deltarune
games.
chapters 1 through 4 is going to be releasing on Switch too. Elden Ring is going to come out on Switch
Apparently, Switch
too.
2 is going to be more powerful than the Switch 1.
Yeah. So FF7 Remake, Intergrade, Cyberpunk 2077, Ultimate Edition, Street Fighter 6, Split Fiction, Project 007. Those are all coming to Switch 2. Borderlands 4, Hogwarts Legacy, Sid Meier's Civilization, the new one. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 plus 4. Ooh, Enter the Gungeon. I forgot to mention this. Enter the Gungeon 2 got announced. And it's going to be like 3D instead of like pixel, like the original Enter the Gungeon, which is
I The only game
wh-
you just said that I even give kind of a shit about is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. The rest of it, I'm like, meh.
oh
Because I grew up like one of the first games I ever played was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 when I was a
yeah.
kid. So I'm like, I'm quite keen to replay it. I mean, it's not going to be as good. I don't know if it'll be the same because it might just feel like 1 and 2, but with like different maps, which I'll be like, yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Uh, yeah. Nothing. There's only like a couple of like Switch 2 announcements that really
Stand
caught
out
my eye and were like worth talking about. Um,
like Elden
but
Ring and the price points of the Switch 2.
yeah. So speaking of that, the Switch 2 price over here in the US is going to be $449.99.
How much would it cost?
Tell me how much that is in rand, AC.
$400. Well, see, $100
Just round.
is like 1,200, so it's probably what, give or take 5,000 rand,
Yeah.
give or take roughly, depending on how much your government destroys your ability to have money. Because those tariffs are not doing good. Oh, also, the Nintendo Switch is an item that will be tariffed because it is an import from the Japanese, I believe. You
Oh,
guys are going to
speaking
be
of
down
that
to
too,
Xboxes.
I saw a comment somewhere that apparently Nintendo like um made like a fuck ton of Switch 2s and basically brought them over here so they wouldn't get tariffed. Hold on, I think I something about that. They basically imported a bunch of them before the tariffs hit, so they won't get tariffed.
Hmm?
Uh, Honestly, I think that might have just been someone talking out of their ass because now that I googled it, I haven't seen anything on it.
No, that's someone giving a lot of wishful thinking.
Nintendo unveils
Because
high price Switch to tariffs rise. Uh, Starting point of 449. Nintendo has already shipped hundreds of thousands of Switch 2 to the US from factories in Vietnam, hoping that its efforts to reduce its reliance on Chinese production since Trump's first presidency would pay dividends. Oh, okay, so that's what I saw.
where they're
Okay.
just using a different manufacturer.
Looks like it.
I mean, sure, but it's still coming from like a country that famously beat the Americans in a war that they claim that was completely unnecessary.
I've
Historically,
also
it's very funny.
I've also heard or seen that Switch 2 games are going to be like $80.
Like everything going up.
Let's see. Digital versions costing 70 and physicals costing 80. Actual price may vary. Uh, let's see. Switch 2 games are breaking the $70 game price barrier. Revealed that the game will have an $80 price tag.
1 sec,
Mario
just
Kart
while you're going
World.
over that, I am gonna let the dog out since Lindy just got
Donkey
home. Give me 1 sec.
Donkey Kong Bonanza will cost $70. Hmm. Crazy. Yeah, that coupled with the price of like the Switch being so expensive kind of kills my drive to get a Switch too, honestly. I mean, there's not really any games. I mean, I would have said like Dustblood would have gotten me to want to get it, but hearing that it's going to be like a PvP PvE and not like a regular From Software game with like a big story like Bloodborne. I'm not expecting them to do like obviously I'm not expecting them to do open world stuff again like with Elden Ring. But like something like Bloodborne, I was hoping and kind of expecting that, but it looks like they're not going to be doing that again. Unfortunately, it looks like, um, which really sucks. I mean, maybe Metroid Prime 4. Um, I don't know. I haven't really gotten into the other Metroid Prime games, so there's nothing really there driving me to get it. Hold on,
Okay,
Switch
I
2
need to
games.
thread that needle again. But hi, Chris, I'm back.
Yeah, welcome
How are
back.
those prices going? Metroid Prime 4.
Let's see, Metroid Prime 4.
I've never played a
Uh,
Metroid Prime game, but I've seen Samus absolutely plastered everywhere. And also because I'm an adult and I've gone on Rule 34 before, I've seen Samus covering doing the cover page for some reason. Why? Why?
Ooh, Tamagotchi Plaza. That might be good. I've seen a lot of people really excited for that one. That
Tamagotchi
game.
Plaza. Tamagotchi. 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 Oh, it's just
Oh,
Digimon.
they also announced the GameCube classics. They're
Oh yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah. I saw that.
Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F Zero GX. That sounds cool.
Soul. Did you ever play any of the Soul Calibur games as a kid?
I played 2 on GameCube.
You had a GameCube? I don't think I knew anyone who had like. a GameCube as a kid. I only knew people who had PlayStations. That was it. There was no. I didn't even know GameCube existed until like I was 17.
Were you 17 when you played Soul Calibur 2?
No, I was like 15 when I played Soul Calibur 4.
Oh, that was the one with Darth Vader,
Yoda.
right?
It was with Yoda and Darth Vader, and Yoda was a genuinely broken character because of how short he is. You could
Yeah.
only hit him if you did low attacks.
Yeah.
So he was busted because all like there's a lot of characters who have like really good long attacks, but they won't hit you properly in like crouching. So Yoda could just like walk up to them and hit them, and I'm like, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen. Chewie.
Yeah.
Chewie's being adorable in the background. But yeah, Yoda was the funniest thing in that.
Yeah, every time people talk about that Soul Calibur, they always say like how horrible Yoda was because how
He
small he
was
was and how awful he was to fight against.
he was a character that you used to unlock things. You get what I mean?
Yeah, because he was when you fought against the computer, they couldn't hit him either.
Yeah, the computer would also be like, "What? How are you?" And you're like, "Get fucked." Also, the funniest thing happened to me today. I know I just got a scam SMS. Well, I don't know what you'd call it in America, but like it's just like a text from like an unknown number, and it was the funniest shit that happened because they were like, "Your last payment for Netflix has been declined." I'm like, "I've never paid for Netflix in my life. What the fuck? I don't have Netflix. I haven't even given my banking details to Netflix before. Are you telling me my account declined?" I'm like, "Well, I'd hope so. I didn't give you what they are, so good for you."
Let's see. Uh, oh,
That's also cute.
um, there was another game that didn't get announced at the direct, but it's called Marvel Cosmic Invasion. It's like a beat 'em up side scroller game with various Marvel characters like Nova, um, Wolverine, and it looks like it's gonna have the Annihilation Wave, if you know what that is,
The what?
an
Sorry.
Annihilus.
Annihilus. I vaguely know Annihilus, but I have. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of fell off from comic books a while back, and I've moved on to manga mostly because like the fact that American comics specifically like to reset to the status quo all the time, and I got bored of reading a Spider-Man comic book. The Spider-Man was the worst with this, but they all kind of did it. But the worst was I'd read a Spider-Man comic, you would develop a relationship with someone,
Mm-hmm.
and then like out of the blue they would just break up, and it would be like, oh, everything was going well, but the writers just decided they don't like this, and I'm like, for fuck's sake. This is why I liked the Ultimate Spider-Man, the original comics, because when shit happened, it was like one straight story where shit happened and it stayed happened, and it wasn't like, oh, this happened, this guy died, and he came back, and then he died again, and then he came back, and then he like, you know, sold his marriage to save his 200-year-old aunt who was gonna die fucking anyway. My goddamn fucking sliding timelines, stupid bullshit. And then I read a manga where a character dies and they fucking stay dead, and all the stakes feel really important, and it just makes me like invested. Like my favorite thing that I've
Have you been reading the new Ultimate Spider-Man?
not yet. I like I said, I've fallen off completely on comics. The only one I've been kind of reading is Star Wars comics because they stayed linear, so they still tell a story where consequences. So they may go back and like tell stuff, and you like, okay, certain characters will be safe. So if they go back in time and say tell a Qui-Gon story, right? You know he's not going to die in the story, but you
Yeah,
like
because he shows up in the movies.
yeah, because you know when he dies. You're like, okay, we have one safe character.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean everyone else around him isn't going to get fucking murked. Or
That's why
like,
I find it better when it comes to like the established Star Wars characters. If they go backwards instead of forwards. So like when that one animated episode where they showed like Dooku when he was younger and with the younger Qui Gon,
oh,
and they
with like
showed they
the kid Qui
yeah
Gon. Yeah, that was Tales of
When
the
they showed
Jedi was
Duke,
amazing.
yeah, yeah, and I also saw, I didn't see the trailer, but I saw like someone talking about the new Tales from the Underworld or something. I think that's the
Yeah,
name of
Tales
it.
from the Underworld. That's the one.
It's gonna have Cad Bane and then Asajj Ventress after what happened in the Clone Wars.
Well,
But
I,
Cad Bane
hmm.
when he started out, and then Asajj after the events of the Clone Wars
I think the
when
thing
she
with
turned
Asajj
good.
is it's not so much after the Clone Wars because it doesn't have to be after the Clone Wars. It can be in the waning days of the Clone Wars because remember, it's any time after like when she defected in like it's any time after she lost her lightsabers to Barris. So that's
So
like the last like
if it helps
year
with
of
like
the
the
Clone Wars.
timeline, in the clip I saw that she had like white hair instead of her being bald.
That's awesome. Okay, so fun fact about that: when she had white hair when she had a canon romance with Quinlan Voss. Like
Hmm.
it is canon to Star Wars. I still don't understand how the fuck she's alive. She should be dead because at the end of the her like canon book, where she goes on like a full romance with Quinlan Voss, she died at the end of the book. Like Dooku impales her through the heart, and I'm like, okay, so she died, but she's not dead. What? I'm assuming there's some witchy magic happening here because the Night Sisters have some weird bullshit going on with them. But it's still like a weird thing to think about.
Did Asajj show up in Bad Batch?
Yes, Bad
Oh,
Batch season
okay.
3.
And she had like a kind of like a side thing with her hair.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at her wiki. That's what she looks like in the clip. And
yeah.
then in the one with Cad Bane, it's just him looking really younger. And I think from what I know, Cad Bane was being trained. I think it was by Boba, right?
No. Django.
Oh, Django.
Okay, because Boba was like a little kid when Cad Bane took over from Django as the like the bounty hunter. You know, like the
Yeah.
biggest, the best dude in the business. It was entirely down to like so Django kind of trained and worked with Cad Bane, and Django has such a weird story. I don't. They need to do Tales of the Mandalorians because we need more stories on like Django being an actual Mandalorian. Because I will die on the hill that he is a proper Mandalorian, and that because there's a line in the Clone Wars where they're like, "Oh no, he was just a 2-bit guy who stole Mandalorian armor," and I'm like, "No, I want a story where he was a proper Mandalorian because Django was always like he was the Mandalorian, like the main like fucking leader of the Mandalorians for a long time. And then, okay, this is Legends. In Legends, he
Hmm.
then had an encounter with Dooku, where his like faction called who they called themselves the True Mandalorians, they were fighting against the Death Watch. Fun fact: they brought Death Watch back from this Legends book. Still kind of
Into
sad they
the
didn't.
actual canon.
Yeah, so they did. Disney's done this a lot. A lot of fans in Star Wars like shit on Disney for not doing that, and it's like they did. They just brought it back in a way where it like actually ties into the main story as opposed to just being like this weird thing that was written by somebody who didn't like work with anyone else really. They just kind of wrote a story. They were like hired to write a story and they wrote a story and they're like, ah, cool, let's go wild with it. Which, because I've gone on a stupid ass kick with reading Legends books, is very bizarre because half of them were written before the prequels were finished. And there's like bits of things with like Luke mentioning shit that happens or like talking about how the clones work. and then Legends reveals something, and the clones work completely fucking differently to what these Legends books claim. And it's like, no one's working together, and no one knows shit. So that's a whole mess. But getting back to Django being the Mandalorian, he had a whole thing where he led like an uprising against Death Watch, and his faction tried to fight them, and eventually the Death Watch tricked the Jedi into coming and interfering to stop this like civil war between them. And Dooku wiped out his like whole faction except for Django.
Yeah.
Dooku and his like contingent of Jedi wiped them all out, and I'm like, okay, how did the fuck did you end up working for fucking Dooku? But he did because he got like betrayed. Chewie, what the
I
fuck?
also like the
Yeah.
canon reason that all the clones look like Django is because um,
No, I think it's
in the Star Wars Bounty Hunter GameCube game,
yeah.
from what I remember,
It was
Dooku.
on PS3 as well,
Uh, yeah. Okay. Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's
I
and it's
just
had a re-release
remember.
on Steam. It got remastered and it's been re-released on Steam. Which
Oh, that's
reminds
good.
me.
But the Dooku enlisted Django in order to take someone down. Who I think he was like a another Sith or another Jedi, and he ended up doing it. And once he did that, he was like, "I have a proposition for you.
Okay, so
We we take your genetic material. We give you like a we give you an unaltered clone to have like as a kid because you did so well, and we give you all this money."
so kind of, it's a bit different. In that, so what happened with that was, holy shit, I want this anyway. Um, so what happened with that was a whole thing where the Jedi he was forced to hunt down was Dooku's former apprentice, one of his other apprentices after Qui-Gon, and she was trying to be like a dark Jedi slash Sith type, you know.
Hmm.
And so because she was now edging into where she shouldn't with causing shit for Sidious and Dooku, he sent Django to go and hunt her down and kill her so that they wouldn't have to deal with this fucking bullshit problem of so he wouldn't have to deal with the problem of this sneaky fucking dark Jedi who's going to draw attention before they've started the Clone Wars and caused the problems for the Jedi that end in Order 66.
Yeah.
So that was a whole long ass story that got pretty weird, and there was a lot of betrayal, and she kind of became like her place in Star Wars canon kind of was it just kind of became what Ventress is now.
Hmm.
So they did like this whole amalgamation type deal, which was
Oh,
uh,
they retooled her character into Asajj.
yeah,
Okay.
basically like they actually in the original story, the Asajj's lightsabers was her original lightsaber, and Django gave it to Dooku as like proof that he killed her.
But the lady that Django went to go kill, she still exists in like the canon, right? Because that's the whole
I'm
reason why all the clones look like Django, because Django killed her, right?
I believe I'm not actually quite sure about the canon.
Because that's what I got from it. Because if I remember,
I can double check on the canon, but from what I remember, it's not the current canon. I mean, I can obviously be wrong. I'm
I mean, it's not like
fallible
it's
as
like
shit.
it's not like a Legends thing, but from what I remember, the game was officially made and was like given like the okay by George Lucas because it had um, it had Django from the prequel, and then I think not Christopher Lee voicing Dooku, but the Clone Wars Dooku voice actor voicing Dooku
Yeah,
in it.
pretty much. But it had Christopher Lee's face. Christopher Lee was apparently too expensive, which you know, valid.
I mean, if I was to choose between listening to Christopher Lee Dooku or like the Dooku that we got in Clone Wars, I'd always choose the Clone Wars Dooku because I
I
just
would
like
always choose
the Clone
Christopher
Wars
Lee.
Dooku.
There's a reason I would always choose Christopher Lee's because I've been listening to a bunch of the, like Discworld books and the old Discworld movies. So there was a bunch of like BBC TV movies for the Discworld books for Terry
Hmm.
Pratchett, and he was the voice of Death. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that fits. Christopher Lee is Death. I can see. Oh, wow, it's very weird. Also, just a fair warning: if I vanish, it's because the rain tripped my power. It is presently outside my window, bucketing with rain. It's rain. It's like somebody turned on the tap and was just like, hey, "Let's pour it all."
Well, I think we should start winding down anyway, just in case.
Oh no! Well, I
I
mean,
yeah, because
you've
I
still
have the
got another
thing.
hour before you have to go.
So I'm gonna pose this question to you, AC. Um,
Yes,
since you told me and like some others in the server that Lindy has been playing a lot of Skyrim.
yes. Lindy has gotten very much into Skyrim, but she's playing it in the absolute weirdest possible way. According to me, who played Skyrim on release, like my cousin got it on back on release, and I visited him, and he like basically gave me access to play it for 12 hours straight, and I finished like half the quests. So I played the shit out of that game, and now I struggle to play it anymore.
So
I played
my
too much.
question is on the topic of like Skyrim.
Yeah.
What should game companies do to with their games to make them last longer?
Okay, so
To last
first,
longer.
just because I need to explain on why Lindy's method of play is weird, she's decided
Okay, yeah,
she's
go
going to
ahead.
play the entire game on a survival mode, which came with the like anniversary edition, I believe. So
Hmm.
you need to sleep, you need to eat. She's playing on the version of Skyrim where you actually have to sleep and you have to eat. But she's also playing as if she's just a mom because she's decided she's going to try and adopt every single orphan in the game. Oh no, she's getting. She says you can only get two, but she also then undermines the fact because yesterday last night she was looking at mods, and the first mod she looked at was to adopt more orphans, and I'm like, you're telling me you can only adopt two? Like you're not getting mods to get more? Like what? But yes, as for longevity, the one thing that a lot of things need is a stuff to do in the game that feels like it has a point.
Hmm.
So Skyrim, I know I know Lyle fucking hates Skyrim and Bethesda games, and he says they're kind of boring and dull and like stuff. But I'm like, Skyrim. I disagree on the Skyrim front because it still feels like it has a point. If you go and do any other quest besides the main quest, so you go say join the companions,
Yeah.
that has a whole plot line where you can forget about the main quest because the companions is this whole story. It has its whole own narrative and like weird twists and turns that are just for that. And then you can go and do the Thieves Guild, and it has the same thing where you're like, okay, cool, I joined the Thieves. Okay, now there's a secret society within the Thieves Guild. What the fuck? Oh yeah, and then joining a Dark Brotherhood, which starts by murdering an abusive like orphanage owner, and but it's also incredibly fun because it escalates from you killed an abusive. I'm giving Lindy spoilers here because I'm talking about this, but it escalates from murdering an abusive orphanage caretaker, right, to killing the Emperor of Skyrim. No, sorry, the Emperor of Tamriel, and you're like, what? Fucking what?
Oh yeah, that.
It like escalates so far out of hand that you're like, wait, what? Why am I? How the fuck did I get here from? I just killed this woman because I picked up a note, and now I'm murdering an emperor. What the fuck? It's so deranged. and so much fun. Also, I just remembered we had. Did you remember Nuclear Nightmare? It's a game we should be playing together.
I've heard of it. Yeah. Oh
You
yeah,
bought
I
it for
have it.
me.
Yeah.
You fucking bought it for me. It's in my library. Oh my god.
I
I
thought you
need
were
to
talking
we should
about
just play
for
this.
like a second when you said Nuclear Nightmare. I was like Nuclear Throne, like the roguelike, top down like shooter game, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of it.
No, I'm talking about the one that's basically the thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Play this. I still don't know how this fucking works.
So
Uh,
going back to the question I asked, one
yeah,
thing that I think game companies could do to make their game last longer, and
yeah.
this is in reference to like Skyrim and like but some of the Bethesda games, is have your game be easily moddable, so they can add
Like,
things to it. So like in Skyrim, you can basically change the combat to be like Dark Souls, or add like custom characters and custom quest lines and all this stuff. And then, like in
yeah,
terms
yeah.
of like New Vegas, like I don't know if you played New Vegas, but New Vegas still has like a really dedicated modding scene. Like
I
there's
mean,
people are still
most Bethesda
making,
games have those.
yeah, it's
I mean,
New
I've seen a
Vegas
mod for
mods are still coming out today, which is really
dude.
cool.
They're still doing no, what's it called? Daggerfall. So Daggerfall is Elder Scrolls 2. Keeping in mind, Skyrim is the Elder Scrolls 5. So Daggerfall is the second game in the series.
Hmm.
And there are still mods coming out for that. One sec. Then he needs me to type in my phone number, and I can't speak that out loud. Okay, there, I've done it. And it is a game. It is. You. People have modded it to the point of it's unrecognizable from like the original form of the game.
Daggerfall. What does that one look like? I've heard of it, but I just
It looks
see.
old, like very old.
Oh yeah,
Like
that is really old.
yeah, but there's from what I can tell, there are still mods coming out for that to this day. Yo, what up, Candy? How you doing? And we
Hmm.
are currently discussing Daggerfall. So we're talking about ancient games that still have modding communities. And I just realized I should probably play Hotline Miami. I actually have that.
The first or second one.
Second
And
one.
hi Gemma, how are you doing?
Hmm?
I played a lot of the first one. The first one was really good. I've maybe I think I've played the second one. I'm not
I've
too
never
sure.
played it, so I'm like
I might
I'm
have
gonna
played
play
the second one.
it.
But Hotline Miami is like one of the games that is super cool. I really wish they'd make a third one or do
But
something like
yeah,
it
so yeah, I'd
again.
say we need. I mean, single player games should also just have a story that draws you in. You know,
Wow,
if
there
they
are
have an
some really cool
engaging
looking
story,
mods for
you'll want to come
Daggerfall
back
that
to
I'm
it. You
looking
want to
on
keep playing
Nexus.
it. You want to mod it to make it look
Piece
new,
of chalk.
feel different.
Adds chalk to
It's all
vendors. You
about
can use it to
basically just
draw
like
arrows on the floor in dungeons.
make it feel new.
Fly an airplane.
If it doesn't feel new, no one's
That's
going to play
funny.
it.
Huh. I can't hear you right now if you're talking. I think you're cutting in and out.
No, you. I was just being quiet for a second. I was waiting.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
What was the last thing you heard? Because if I've been cutting out.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. What was I saying about? Yeah, of course. Well, okay. Let me go back to this then. When it comes to a good story, if you want something that's you're going to get it really into it, you want to have something that re-engages you. And one of the best things to do that is a really good story. Hence why you and I have both played through the Mass Effect trilogy like 4 or 5 times. I'm willing to bet.
I've twice.
I've done it.
I played through the trilogy twice. First time was when I played it originally, and the second time was when I streamed it. and how we met.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I have finished it about 5 times. Although full disclosure, I've only finished Mass Effect 1 3 times, and the first time was I played it with my best mate, and we finished it like we played it on release and we finished it. So that was
Hmm.
way back in the day, like 2008. Mass Effect 2, I have finished. I have managed to get basically every ending for Mass Effect 2 multiple times, and then carried that save over into Mass Effect 3, where I also finished it several times.
Yeah.
But I've only done like a full playthrough of 1 through 3, like where I just went the same character through all the games without like having basically played one of the games to get the perfect ending. Once I've only ever done that once, and I did it on stream back when I started. I kind of want to do another playthrough of it now that I've done a bit more Mass Effect, a bit more streaming, got a bit more experience on what to talk about and how to like engage.
Yeah. But don't you feel like you've basically done everything that there is to do in the game? And
Not really, because as much as you think that, right? Unless you're one of those guys who always makes exactly the same choices, if you play the Mass Effect games are really good at it because you can basically take a Mass Effect game and tell yourself, okay, this time I'm going to change every choice I make in this game. I'm not going to make the same choices this time. You'll have a completely different playthrough. Say even your choice is to have a different team when you play. You get a
yeah.
different experience out of the game. Because say your default team that you always play with is Garrison Tali, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm fairly certain is pretty much what your default team is.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you go through another playthrough just because you want to experience the game differently, so you set yourself rules.
Hmm.
So say you're not allowed to choose the same class you played the game as last time. So say you normally play soldier, you have to choose anything but soldier. You can't play soldier. You have to play an engineer or something that plays differently to the last playthrough. So you choose a new class,
Hmm.
and
I
then
find I find
you make a new character.
yeah, I find picking a class to play as the easiest point of your entire thought experiment. But go on.
Yeah, I know, because that's the easiest part. Is you're just playing as a different like version of Shepard, right? But
Yeah.
then you get into choosing your like romantic partner or who dies or in the first game, right? So say you force yourself to do the hard thing, you let Rex die. And then you have to play through the other two games with Rex dead and see how that ripples backwards into
Oh
the other two games.
God.
So first off, that will imagine streaming that, right? So you have to kill Rex. You fuck up and you have to kill Rex.
Hmm.
And then you get to the next game and then you get reminded that you killed him because he has a replacement in that game.
Yeah, he's
Somebody else
such a
takes
good
his place.
he's such a big part of 3, and then not so much
Two,
2, but like 3.
he's in two, but yeah, and you
He just
feel
sits
his
on a
absence
throne
if
in
you play
2. He's
two,
not as
and
a
he
big of
dies. You can
a
feel that he
character
should be
in
there,
as
and it
compared to
feels weird.
3, with the whole thing with
So that's
curing
why
the
I'm like, if you
genophage.
play through Mass Effect, changes things you do different in game one can affect game two and
I
three.
can't hear you if you're talking.
So so like as much as you can say
Oh,
things like, "Oh, don't you feel like?" It's like no,
fucking Discord
because I
again.
haven't made all the choices that are available in a
Uh,
game like Mass Effect, where I could choose something different, and I will get a different narrative journey to get myself all the way to the end. I will have a very different journey if I play and let Rex die, and then kind of fuck up a bit in the end of two, and like lose half my crew, and then have to go through the next game with the
okay, wait,
guilt
hold
of
on.
people
Wait,
dying in two.
wait. Go back. Discord like froze on me for a second.
Okay,
Um,
what was the last thing you heard?
whatever you've been saying for the last 3 minutes.
Okay, because I was basically just talking about all the different choices you make in Mass Effect, right, and how they ripple backwards and affect you, and
Yeah,
how if
I mentioned that Rex in 3 was so much more prominent in the story than in 2, because in 2 he just sits on a throne and on Tachanka.
yeah, but like you can, but like also when you go to Tachanka in two, right, and
Hmm.
Rex is alive, he greets you, he like happily greets you.
Yeah, Shepherd.
But
Yeah,
if he's dead, the next guy basically kicks you off the planet the moment you arrive, and you have to like negotiate and fight him to get onto the world.
yeah.
And then you have to work with that character for the next game. No Rex. Rex is dead. And then
Yeah.
say you force yourself to romance somebody else, anyone else. You're not allowed to romance
Mm.
Tali. You'll get very different plots and how characters interact in each game.
uh, I tried doing that when I played a little bit more of Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm
Hmm?
like, fuck, Karlach just made me fall in love with her all over again. And I feel like it would be the same thing with like Tally does something cute or does something adorable, like she always
Yeah, it's
does, and I'm
true.
like, God, I don't make me
I
fall in
will
love
say
with
this
you
though:
again.
if you choose a different character to romance in Mass Effect, right? Garrus
Mm-hmm.
and Tali end up together,
Yeah,
and they're super fucking cute together. So it's also like
yeah,
it becomes this thing of, yeah, Tali's cute. I fall in love with her, but like also seeing her with Garrus creates a very different feeling to it. And I'm like, you should try that. I know you struggle with the impulse control, but if you do it and you choose somebody else, say Liara or whoever, Jack. The best is Liara because she carries through all three games, especially if you're playing Legendary Edition because she appears in the like DLC, and it
mm-hmm.
helps to like keep that romance through follow through. So if you do it in 1, 2, and 3, you have like a full long story, which is really which is fun in its own way, right? So I highly recommend doing that, where you play through it, but you choose different things to your normal choices. Even if you like really want to, choose different things. Choose different teams. Like choose if you play through 2, choose Jacob to go out with you and on missions because he actually does have cool dialogue options if you take him with you, or take Morden. Morden is amazing to take with you. He has cool like combat stuff, but he's also fun. His banter with Shepard's fun, and then it also makes his death in 3 way more gut wrenching. But yeah. No, everyone's
Yeah.
done Garrison Rex together. That's the funniest shit is having them shit on each other the whole time. That shit's hilarious. So you're needing to run off to do this doctor's appointment here. Check
No,
on
I'm
your blood
just
pressure, your low blood pressure. You need to have a guy put a thing on your arm and make it go squish. Dude, doctors
no.
are so weird.
It's just that I'm getting fucking text from work right now that I should be ignoring, but they're saying that I
Stop!
did stuff at
Ignore.
work that they're saying I did stuff at work that I didn't, and you know how it is.
I mean, I
So
do, but I also don't because I am good at ignoring things when I'm not supposed. I'm good at ignoring, especially work. Well, okay, I work freelance, so I was good at ignoring work because I was like, I'm at home. It's my day off. Fuck off. I don't care.
yeah,
It's not my problem. I will deal with it when I come back in. But if you want my time in time when I'm not at work, you can pay me for my time and I'll come in and do whatever the fuck it is you want. But if you're not going to pay me, you can fuck off. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I used to work for stockbrokers. It was very easy to just ignore them because
but yeah.
they were
Going back to
jackasses.
your point, about like the Mass Effect and choosing to do certain stuff and not romance certain characters. I always tend to go towards like the good, um, the good choices.
It's true.
Um, so it would be really difficult for me to on purpose kill Rex in the first game, or
I
like
mean,
in the third game not cure the genophage.
the other easy thing to do is go for the middle choice. So you keep choosing neutral. You try and like always choose the most neutral possible choice. It makes it easier to like get the accidental fuck ups because then it doesn't feel like you're trying to do it on purpose. But you also like choosing neutral because you're trying to play the middle ground of not being the good guy or the bad guy. You're trying to be pragmatic and get things working. And then it's like, no problems. We've
Yeah,
accidentally killed this guy because I've done this and this, and then, but that's why I say Mass Effect's really replayable because you can go and you can make these other choices and you can get so many different choices and different like interesting ideas by just changing one choice you made in the first game will change the gameplay for the other two games. I mean, you could even kill Caden instead of Ashley. A
I
fact
hate
that
Ashley so much in the first game.
apparently she has a really good arc where she like comes around by the third game, but you'd
But
never know
having
that.
having to deal with her in like two games just to see her like not be a racist against the aliens is like,
Well, she like bonds with the aliens throughout the first game, and then by like the end of it, she's basically already like mostly out of it. So if you don't kill her, she starts coming around to liking the aliens, and then by the last game, she's quite friendly with them. So it's like you basically just have to push through the parts where she's shitty, like a shitty character, and you don't care, and you let her evolve. And that's like part of the fun of doing one of these games.
that's just rough because I just absolutely detest Ashley. Like when I played it for the first time, I romanced Ashley in the first game because I just thought she was hot. And in the second game, I went Tally. In the third game, I went Tally. Um, and in the second game, she's like really on the fence about you because
Hmm.
uh, she knows that Cerberus like basically brought Shepard back and isn't entirely sure like if you're fully on their side or just like being controlled by Cerberus, which is fair, which is a fair like concern. You don't know how much Cerberus is like controlling you, because they did literally bring you back to life. Um, and I think it's the same thing with Caden in the second game as well.
Yeah.
Although I'm not 100% sure. I think it's
Um.
like basically like the same thing in the second game. They don't join you because they're just not 100% sure if to trust you or not because of the whole thing with Cerberus and since you're working with them.
Yeah.
And then in the third game, they almost die, and then they join you afterwards once they heal up and they become specters.
Yeah. I remember that as well. It's a pretty fun, like, kind of character arc where Caden and Ashley they have like similar things, but because their personalities are quite different, and Caden's like the nice Canadian, and Ashley is basically the Southern American.
Hmm.
If you get what I mean. Actually, no. Let me put it correctly. She's the conservative American. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense.
Like she's just a straight up conservative American, but also which also tends to push for the why she's kind of racist, and then like changes quite easily because a lot of conservative Americans, the reason they become quite racist is they don't spend time talking to the people they're racist against. They don't know anything, so they're scared of them and they just shit on them the whole time, right? And the moment they talk to them or become friends with any of them, their opinion completely changes. Like
Hmm.
you even see it a lot of stories of people being like, even conservatives who like, oh, get rid of all the immigrants, and then the like immigrant friend starts getting deported. Like, no, don't take him. He was one of the good ones. It's like, bitch, they're all the same. They're the same kind of thing. It's the same thing. You're just stupid.
It's funny you mentioned that. There was a story that I was reading. There's this illegal immigrant restaurant owner, and all of his friends were like voted Trump, and this was during I think his first presidency. Um, and all his friends voted Trump, and the restaurant owner ended up getting deported, and all his friends got interviewed by the news, and they're like, "Oh, we voted for Trump, yeah." But he was one of the good ones. We were talking about like all the bad ones, like the criminals and stuff. Why would they deport this good guy. He was good. He like paid his taxes and he gave me like a job and everything. He was good, but yeah, I mean,
Because he was other. He was
it's
easily
still
othered, and
it still doesn't change the fact that
it's
there
leopards
he
eating their face, man. They're stupid as
yeah.
hell. And it's very ironic watching and being like, oh my god, it just did not register with you at all, did it? It's
Yeah.
disappointing when it doesn't register, and you're like, it's obvious. Like you don't even have to think about it very hard to know it's obvious.
Um, one final thing before we go ahead and head out. Did you happen to see the trailer for the new season of Marvel Rivals?
Nope. I
I
haven't
will
played
send it
Marvel
to
Rivals
you.
in a while. I've been playing. What have I been playing? No, I've been writing. All I've really been doing is writing a script, working on my script and novel, and sewing. Lots of hand stitching.
I will send it
Hmm?
to you right now. It's not even
I've
that
also
long.
been playing off-stream games.
It's
Oh yeah,
like a
and I also
minute,
got
and so watch
yeah.
it, and we can hear your live reactions
Okay,
to
okay.
it because they show off Emma, or
Mhm.
like just watch it.
Okay. Also, I've been mostly playing games with Lindy, like off-stream games with Lindy. No games. Let me see. Oh, it's an Emma Frost one. Oh my god, they're doing the Hellfire Gala. Of course they are. Why? Why do you dress like this? What? Krakoa age ended like last year. This is going to be a disaster.
What do you mean it's going to be a disaster?
This is what I meant. Oh, great. It's Ultron. Escape room. Hmm. Hmm. Also, why would Ultron come and attack fucking Magneto? That's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's not even the age of Krakoa, it's the age of fucking Ultron, and it's dumb. Let's see. Hellfire Gala. Let's see. Cap looks. Oh my god. YouTube. Fuck you. I don't want to see the next videos. I want to see these. Oh, that's what T'Challa looks like in this universe. Okay. Rocket looks like he's at a completely different event. Cap, I'm convinced that's it's either Star Lord or Cap, but I think that's Cap. He
Oh,
looks fine.
actually, it might be Star Lord because of the little brooch on his shoulder.
Oh yeah,
It
that
looks
is
like
Star Lord.
the
That is
Guardian
Star Lord.
symbol.
Yeah. Emma Frost looks. I don't know how if she's getting added to the game. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Cloak and
What do you
Dagger
think
look
of her
awesome.
design?
It's Emma Frost. She's got a lot of diamonds.
Uh,
She's very
sorry guys. AC doesn't
sparkly.
like legs or thighs. It looks like
I love hips. She's
he's
got great hips, but I'm not being thirsty on stream. Why would I want to be so thirsty on stream?
he's
I
not a
got
man
Lindy
of
sitting.
culture.
No, I got Lindy sitting next to me, mate. I'm not going to be thirsty on stream when Lindy's sitting
Well,
right
ask her
there.
what is her opinion? What does she think of Emma Frost's design?
So, what do you think of her design, Lindy? She says it's fine. That's it. She's like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. There's lots of diamonds in the sky. Diamonds in the sky.
All right, guys. We will catch you guys next week.
Yes,
Um,
next week, where we will talk about the best ways to dismantle a government.
no.
You start. Okay, here. Okay, chat. Since Chris doesn't want to do it next week, I'll do it this week. So the
Yeah,
easiest
bye
way to
guys.
dismantle.
John A.